always believe in planting tried and true vegetables out in the garden, ones that I know are going to thrive the conditions of our garden. But I also like to try out new varieties, and this year I am trying out 9 new varieties from Renee's Garden Seed Company. She is one of my favorite seed companies. I have personally gotten to know her, and I just love their seed company because everything that they sell gets tested in a trial garden. So there's nothing being sold on their site that hasn't been tested and proven to be a winner. So just anything you order from her, know that it is a good variety, but they have some really unique options that a lot of seed companies don't have. And so I have 9 different varieties that I'm trying out, and I wanted to share them with you because if you're anything like me, it's fun to hear what other people are growing to kind of spark some ideas of different varieties that you might want to try out in your garden. I think one of the ones that I'm most excited about is this climbing zucchini. So it is a zucchini plant that grows up a trellis. And if you've ever grown zucchini in the past, zucchini can get huge and kind of out of control, and you really only need one zucchini plant, and that's going to give you plenty for your family. It's one of those vegetables that produces like crazy, and usually by the end of the season I'm kind of tired of zucchini, but it's also one of my favorites. And so I'm really excited to start growing it up a trellis. I also am testing out this container zucchini, and it's a really good one for growing in a container. It's compact, and so I'm just testing it. I have plenty of room out in the garden, but I always like trying out new varieties so that I can give you guys my opinion of how they grow. And this one, being that it's a container variety, is really great for a lot of gardeners that are limited on space. So if that's you, that will be a really good variety to try out. I'm also trying out the summer scallop trio. I love scalloped squash, so they are one of my favorites. This one has a variety of yellow, dark green, and light green, and they just all look beautiful, but they are supposed to taste really great. They're tender, and so that's a fun one that I am trying out. The next thing that I am growing this year is a container baby leaf spinach. So spinach is a cool season crop that grows better for us here in Zone 9 if we plant it in the fall and grow it throughout the cooler months. But spinach, along with lettuce and other greens, they can be grown throughout the spring and sometimes even early summer as long as you reseed often and harvest often. So you ideally want to harvest when the greens are only a few inches tall, and then you'll trim them back, leaving about an inch of stem for the plant. And then you will reseed often as well. So you always have fresh greens coming up as you're harvesting the more mature ones. But to have success throughout the warmer months, you need to harvest frequently and reseed often. So I'm going to try this one out and see how it does. The next one that I am going to grow is jambalaya okra. I always grow okra in the garden, but I've never tried this exact variety. It's actually a compact okra, and it's early maturing, so I'm just going to see how this one does. I also got a baby leaf lettuce that is a great cutting mix, so same thing. I'm going to make sure I always harvest the lettuce when it's young and tender before it has the chance to bolt and head to seed. And I'm going to reseed often to extend my harvest as long as I can throughout the warmer months. The next variety I got is some Persian baby cucumbers. So they're little tiny cucumbers. I've been seeing these a lot lately at various grocery stores and local farmers markets. I just love the little tiny cucumbers, and so it's just another fun variety to add to the mix. I also got some Chelsea Prize English cucumbers. They are much larger cucumbers, but they are supposed to be bitter free, which is really great when it comes to cucumbers because cucumbers tend to be bitter. But there's varieties that are known for not being bitter. And so I always like to shoot for a variety that tends to not be bitter, just so you don't risk getting those bitter cucumbers, especially if you're making something like pickles and you didn't realize till after the entire batch is done. And then the last variety that I am trying is sweet winter squash Delicata. I definitely could be pronouncing that wrong, but it's just a fun winter squash that I have never tried before. And so once the weather is warm enough, I'll be getting all of these planted out in the garden. I believe most everything here, actually, yeah, everything here can all be directly sown by seed. If you live in a warm climate like Zone 9, anywhere that has a long growing season, I really prefer to just plant a lot of my warm season crops directly by seed out in the garden. Once the weather's warm enough, it's just so much easier than starting your seedlings indoors and dealing with a grow light and heat mats and transplanting and all of the steps that go into starting your seedlings indoors. I realize that it is required for areas that have shorter growing seasons, but if you have a long growing season like us here in Zone 9, you can definitely just plant most of your crops just outdoors directly by seed, minus your peppers and tomatoes. Those should be transplanted. But anyways, when I get all of these planted, I'll be sure to shoot another video for you guys. If you want to know more about growing each of these crops and just seed starting dates and planting information in general, if you head to this video right here, I have an entire video that walks you through my complete Zone 9 vegetable gardening guide. And so that will give you some extra planting information. And if you want to order any of these seeds, I'll be sure to link to all of them in the description. Like I mentioned, anything from Renee's garden is a great seed, so you can't go wrong. But if you want to try these exact varieties, just be sure to check out the links in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.